Season 8 is just around the corner and it can't come soon enough. The meta has definitely stagnated way too much. Sigma, Sojourn, and Baptiste are all still undeniably better than all other options for their role. They have counters for sure, but no other heroes come close to being as viable in as many situations as they are. In this video, we'll go over the most ideal changes that need to happen to make the game more fresh, and shake up both the top and bottom of the tier list to get more variety in the game. Let's get started. Sigma is clearly the best tank option. He hasn't received any recent changes to make him this good, but somehow he's become the default pick. Nerfing him to fix this is definitely really difficult because of that, but instead it's better to focus on the part of his kit that's always been annoying to deal with, even when he wasn't a good pick. His Gravitic Flux. It's an insanely strong ultimate. Flux is perfect for opening or closing fights, and its massive area of effect makes it common to get team-wide ultimates way more often than other ults with the same potential. So the first thing up on the nerf list, reducing that radius. Right now it sits at 8 meters, just enough to catch almost anyone. When you confirm your Flux, it takes 1 second until it pulls everybody upwards and roots them in the sky. That 1 second is super important. It's how much time you have to react to the confirmation and get out fast. But because of those 8 meters, it's way more difficult to escape even for heroes with average mobility, like Sojourn, Soldier, and Ashe. A hero like Sigma with such a strong neutral doesn't really need this much of a handicap to get a successful ultimate off. He's definitely more than capable of forcing the abilities by himself with his long range and slow methodical play. So here's the fix. Simply reducing the radius to 7 meters makes it much easier to react to the ultimate, while still keeping a large area for Sigma to go for those big team-wipe fluxes that are so satisfying to pull off. It's also going to force Sigma players to aim their fluxes more accurately. With how big the area is, it's no wonder most players just throw it wherever there's a bunch of enemies grouped up instead of aiming it more precisely. And as a bonus, reducing the radius helps with another grievance when it comes to how annoying Sigma is to deal with. The big visual indicator of the ultimate is pretty deceiving. If you've played against Sigma enough, you know how annoying it is to see yourself totally out of the ultimate range, but still getting caught. You can be up to a full meter out of the zone and still get caught, so with this change, if you manage to barely escape, you'll actually be rewarded for that, instead of getting pulled up anyway. And now for the total opposite of Sigma. Now that Roadhog's become a lot better, Wrecking Ball is pretty much alone as the worst tank right now. Since the start of Overwatch 2, there was really only one good while where he was playable, right after he had just gotten his shield buff. But the game and the meta are both progressing at a rapid pace, making it hard for Ball to keep up, especially with the addition of 2 new supports that have strong matchups into him. Both Iliadi and Lifeweaver have the damage and saving potential to dodge and even threaten the kill on him. And funny enough, Lifeweaver's otherwise unreliable damage is only effective against Poor Hammond's massive circle hitbox, meaning he can actually do his full 132 DPS for once. But what's needed isn't some sort of CC immunity or even a cooldown change. The previous small changes to his primary fire are actually pretty spot on, but they're definitely too insignificant to really change how much Ball can follow up on his own engages. What I'm thinking can really help Ball is the reload speed increase not only applying outside of his ball form, but also inside it. The buff in the first place doesn't really make sense. Ball is the most fun and also the most interactive when he's rolling around from place to place. Stopping your whole gameplay cycle to manually reload is pretty silly since the damage just isn't that good, and also you're making yourself a lot more vulnerable by sticking around in one area for too long. Blizzard needs to stop trying to make Wrecking Ball a frontline hero when he can 100% be a fully backline focused tank, constantly looking for angles and dives to set up assassinations. The reload time isn't even that good anyway. 1.6 seconds is still an average reload time, so it doesn't exactly feel worth it to not enter your ball form just to shoot less than half a second earlier. I'm not super psyched on giving Ball insane changes just yet, but if I were to suggest something crazy that would 100% make him strong, it would definitely be increasing the airlock effect on piledriver targets to 0.75 seconds, 0.25 more than the current half second. Way back in 2020, the airlock effect was 1 whole second, which is insane to think about now. Trying out a middle ground, even if it means increasing the cooldown of piledriver back up to 10 seconds, will actually make it feel worth hitting the ability, instead of setting up perfectly just to get the damage shrugged off and being forced to leave the fight to avoid dying. Now for the damage heroes. Sojourn definitely needs some sort of change, but even though she's way too strong, she's not the worst hero to play into. She doesn't need a crazy turbo nerf. I know that I prefer to see Sojourn every game rather than Bastion or Torb. What she could use though is an adjustment to her previous buff in Season 5. During that mid-season patch, she got a decreased spread on her gun by 12%, as well as an increase in the number of shots before reaching maximum spread, just like Wrecking Ball. The number of shots before reaching maximum spread is totally fine, since having your pellets just be a spam up into play for the actually interactive railgun shot makes her a lot more boring. Having multiple ways to get kills is ideal, and now that you can use short bursts to be more accurate at range, you can do that. But that 12% spread decrease should definitely be reverted. It's made her so much more stronger when it comes to DPS 1v1s. Sojourn's impact relies on how much railgun charge she has, and when she can charge it up at a much higher accuracy, even against smaller targets, she's not only a frontline rifler but also an ideal off-angle duelist. Simply reverting the change won't make her too weak, but it will definitely bring in more variety in the long-range spamming hero department, since right now she's got everybody else beat. And just like with the tanks, looking at the bottom of the damage tier list, it's Sombra. Well, she's not really the worst, but she's the most in need for more adjustments. Now that the dust has settled, her rework is definitely looking like a total flop. Even though Reaper and Pharah are in a worse spot, we're already expecting changes soon that will help both of them out. Mauga is both a new target for Reaper and can enable him with his lifesteal aura, and Pharah's had a minor rework in the works for a while now to make her less stagnant in the sky and more active, but Sombra's still in a wonky spot. The only good thing about the rework is that she can sometimes counter Doomfist. His block critically doesn't mitigate the virus damage. It's definitely a big task to make her better besides just following Doom around the whole match, since her new virus and tempo makes her a bit more clunky. Using your hack, virus, and your gun takes a long time, enough time for your target to be saved or even for them to fight back and force you out. But unfortunately, making any of her abilities faster to come out or even allowing for your virus to be used while invisible, just like your hack, would make her way too good at solo kills. What she needs is more survivability, the survivability she lost during the rework from her old Translocator. Her current Translocator makes her a lot easier to chase down, and though that's a good thing, there's a lot of leeway given to Sombra's opponents in catching her that isn't really necessary to make her more vulnerable to being pursued. She has to throw her Translocator, then the Translocator has to activate, and then she teleports to it, going fully invisible shortly after. That's a lot of chances for you to get caught, and a lot of dead time that you as Sombra can't really use to confirm your kills, since you need to be preparing to escape. Sombra's Translocator could use a decrease in its cast time and activation time to make it easier to more reactively escape and still play for the last second kill if you're close enough to it. Leaving your target at 1 HP is the worst, so having the extra time to go for it without sacrificing your life will make her a lot more viable without increasing her raw damage output. And now for the most wanted, the big criminal offenders. Let's get the big one right out of the way. Baptiste has had a chokehold on the support line for so long. Not playing him is a massive disadvantage despite his consistent nerfs. Just having the immortality field gives you way more control in switching the tempo of the fight. If the enemy team hard pushes your tank and overwhelms them, using that immo field for all of the cooldowns they use to try to get the pick is a great trade. But the field isn't really the problem with BAP. At this point, it's teetering on the edge of being either broken or useless. 125 HP is dangerously close to being one-shot by almost anything. If it was at 100, most area of effect abilities would just blow up everybody along with the lamp. What gives BAP both high impact and also easy value is his massive ammo supply. 45 bullets and 13 healing grenades means you will just not run out of ammo in any meaningful way. Just having that much ammo and a life-saving ability to give you some breathing room means you can fit in a lot of reloads without sacrificing your team. Even Regen Burst is a high-volume burst heal that can be used in a pinch. To put it into perspective, you can deal 1,125 damage without reloading. That's just outrageous. BAP is so lucky that he's a cool-looking hero with a lot of skill expression because those numbers are insane. Even for his healing grenades, having 13 AoE shots is a lot and the most he's ever had. BAP has had 13 ammo for the entirety of Overwatch 2, and I don't know why Blizzard hasn't toned down those numbers to introduce more vulnerability windows, the main goal behind the last blanket support nerfs. I would definitely drop the bullet total to 35 and the grenades to at least 12, maybe even 11 if you want to continue the odd number pattern. This kind of change wouldn't even make him bad. He'd still be a really strong hero, but it's definitely a better change than increasing the cooldown of his immortality field by a couple extra measly seconds. Fittingly enough, Zenyatta is the last hero that needs a fix, since his new Discord change has definitely bungled his playstyle. Even for the few maps where he actually has an advantage, he's been made worse. His Discord just isn't as consistent and can be baited out to push for a solid 7 seconds without that key pressure on the tank. Luckily, there's a really easy fix of the situation. Zen's Discord cooldown should be reduced to 4 seconds on the same target. This means that there's still a good window to take advantage of bad Discord abusage, like tagging the tank when you can't push them, but you can still play to bait the orb and push hard off it. You just won't have 7 whole seconds to do so. This whole new Discord cooldown feature is balanced with his extra health, so if it's not as punishing, Zen might be a lot stronger, but 4 seconds is a good number that doesn't make you feel locked out of your hero for half the game and makes it less of a living hell for any tank without shields to deal with you. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to the channel for more content and news with the new season coming soon, and I'll see you next time.